Hello viewers, welcome to AKGC Digital Studio. Today we are going to discuss Python programming, and a topic we have which we are going to discuss is Introduction to Python Programming. In this we are going to cover all the basics of related to Python programming and all the basic terminologies like what is Python, what is the use of Python, and similarly we'll see then how we can use data types and how we can use operators in Python. So as you can see, the Python is one of the most popular programming language nowadays. It is high level programming language as well as known as object oriented programming language. Like if we see this chart, we can clearly see that Python is easy to learn, which has a simple syntax, which means it is very suitable to learning programming for the beginner which are going to learn programming as compared to other programming languages like C, Java or other programming language. Python has a most wide library, we can say, nowadays. Also, the writing code in Python is very easy. Suppose if we write a code in C programming of 10 lines or 15 lines, or in Java if we write a code of let's say 20 or 25 lines, we can do that task, the same task in Python programming within like 7 to 8 lines. It reduces a code and makes easier for beginners, very easier for beginners. What is Python? Python, as I just told you, Python is high level programming language. High level means which is close to humans. Like which is easy to understand by the humans. But for machine language, we can say that this is one of the this from making machine understandable. We need to use some converters, some translators, so that machine will able to understand the syntax of Python, like interpreter, like compiler. So we use these translator to make machine understand so the code of Python. Python is also known as interpreted language. Interpreted means Python is processed at runtime by the interpreter. Also, Python in Python we run the program line by line. We process the program line by line. We check each. We write the line, and then we need to check the program whether it is correct or not. Python is obviously interactive. You can use a Python prompt and interact with the interpreter directly to write your programs. Object oriented language. Object oriented is a feature of programming, like in which we may use some object oriented features like abstraction, like encapsulation, like inheritance. So these are the few object oriented features, class, which we may use in Python as well. uh, then it is again a beginner language. It is a great language for beginner level programmers and support the development of wide range of application. It is very easy to use for the beginners, I would say. Then Python features, it is very easy to learn, read and easy to maintain as compared to other programming language. It is very portable. Portable means we can create a program in a one system, and we can then we can easily copy that particular file, and we can paste that file in another hardware or another system, and we can easily run that thing. Means we can carry the program from one system to another system with some modifications. So it can run on various hardware platform and has same interface on all the platforms. There is no need to change much in your code to run the program. This is extendable, like you can add low modules to Python interpreter. Scalable, when we provides a good structure and support large programs, like we can create large programs with the help of modules, so that it would be really easy. It is support an interactive module of testing and debugging. Debugging means we can check our code at how it will process. Python has a broad standard library cross platform. Python support GUI applications that can be created and ported to many system calls libraries and Windows system, such as Windows MFC, Macintosh, and Windows X Windows system of Unix. Everything of Python is an object variable, function, even code. Every object has an ID, a type, and a value. Means in Python, if you want to create anything, there is no need to provide a data type of that. Simply we can write a value. Say here we are writing, say x equals to 36, and if we'll use that, if we want to know the type of that particular thing, so we can directly write the type x, which simply shows that this x contains a value of integer type. Like as we can see that we have assigned a value 36 to x, and 36 is what type of value? 36 is of integer type of value. So in Python there is no need to provide any data type to a variable. It will directly pick this, and if we will want to know what type of variable, what type of data type it possesses, so we may use this type, and an ID if we want to know the ID of that particular variable, so we may use the ID function for the same. Other features also we have, like it support functional and structured programming method as well as object oriented programming like encapsulation and inheritance. It can be used as a scripting language or can be compiled to bytecode for building large application. So it is faster than other programming language while we building the large applications. It provide high level dynamic data type and support dynamic type checking. It support automatic garbage collection also, and it can be easily integrated with other programming languages like C, C++, Corba, and Java, etc. There are many programming language we can interact with the help of Python. Now, where is Python used nowadays? Python, we can say that Python is used everywhere almost. Like system, if we are talking about the system programming, so in terms of interface of operating system, we may use Python. In terms of GUI, WX Python similar to Swing or Eclipse we have in Java. In terms of web development, we have Django, Flask for Python, and in terms of database programming, we may use SQL. In terms of scientific computing, we use these libraries like NumPy and SciPy. These are the very important libraries, inbuilt library we have in Python, by which we can easily use scientific computing code. And some for gaming and image processing, we may use AI and NLP, and for mobile development, machine learning, artificial intelligence, almost everywhere we use. In research also, the Python is widely used nowadays. Now, history, we're talking about few history of Python, like who has invented this. So Python was conceptualized by Guido van Rossum in the late 1980s. He was a scientist who has invented Python. So Rossum published the first version of Python in February 1991 at the CWI, which stands for Centrum and Informatica in the Netherlands, Amsterdam. Python is derived from ABC programming language, which is a general purpose programming language that had been developed at CWI again. Python is derived from many other languages including ABC, Module 3, C, C++, Algol 68, Smalltalk, and Unix shell, and other scripting languages. Rossum chose the name Python since he was a big fan of Monty Python's Flying Circus. There was a circus named called Monty Python. So Python is now maintained by a core development team at the institute, although Rossum still holds a vital role in directing its progress. So this is all about, we have history. So these are the Python timeline when the different versions of Python has invented, in which year Python has released their versions, like Python 1.5 released in 1997, 1.6 was released in 2000, 2.5 released in 2006, then 2008, 2010, 11, 12, 14, and these are the few more, like we have 3.5 in 2015, 3.8.1 in December 2019. So these are the few Python releases. Like Python, in Python we have two major releases, like Python 2.0 and Python 3.0. So these are the versions of Python 3.0, like 3.1, and latest we have 3.8.1, in which we will study the code. Now, why Python? What is the basic need to learn Python? So Python, in Python we can say that it is easy to maintain, it is very portable, broad standard libraries in which we have high level programming. It is very interactive, also supports database interfaces, and it is also support GUI programming. Easy to maintain in terms of that Python code is easily to write and debug, and Python's success is that its source code is fairly easy to maintain. Portable, as discussed, Python can run on a wide variety of operating system and platform and provide the similar interface on all the platforms. Python comes with many pre-built libraries, APIs. That is why we set this broad standard libraries, which makes very easy for us to do programming, and which makes very easy to provide many high level functionalities with Python program. Also, this is also known as high level programming. Python is intended to make complex programs simpler. Python deals with memory address, garbage collection, etc. internally. And as said, that high level means also that it is very close to humans. It is very easy to understand by the humans. Mostly code is written in terms of English language, which is very much comfortable for us. Interactive, like Python provide an interactive shell to test the things before implementation. It provide the user the direct interface with Python. Python has again database interfaces. Python provides interfaces to all major commercial database. These interfaces are pretty easy to use. And about GUI programming, we must say that Python supports GUI applications and has framework for web interface for WX Python, Django, and Python make it. So these are the few areas where because of which we use Python nowadays. Now I'm talking about the basic syntax of Python. Like it is, as we have discussed, that is very easy to use. So one of the very important thing in Python is to take care of is the indentation. So indentation is very important thing to use in Python to delimit blocks. The number of spaces is variable, but all the statements within the same block must be indented the same amount. The header line for compound statements such as if, while, def is used for to create function in Python, and class, obviously it is a object oriented feature, should be terminated with colon only. The semicolon is optional at the end of the statement. Like in many programming language we have to use semicolon, but in Python this is an optional thing. We can use it, and else we can obsolete this. Mostly we are try to use don't try to use this, because Python we can run program on Python without using semicolon. So suppose this is some code given to us, like suppose we want to print a statement on screen. So in Python we simply need to write print, and inside bracket we can directly provide a message or a name or something, whatever we want to print on screen. So say I want to print welcome class. So I just need to write print bracket followed by double quotes, and I need to write welcome class. So if I am writing like this, that's it. And if I'll run this program through interface or GUI or command prompt, so it will directly print this message without adding anything else in this code. This is one of the easiest and the simpler thing of Python. That is why we are saying that Python is widely used nowadays. because it is very easy to use. Another thing that we can take this from the user, like if we want to print a name, so we can take the value first from the user and then we can print that thing, print the same thing. So for taking anything from the user, we have a function called input. So with the help of input function, we have obviously mentioned a message for user, like enter your name. So user will read this, enter your name, and user will try to write a name or something, like say welcome class or hi hello or anything. So if user will print this, and user whatever the message user will provide, this will store first in a variable called name, and then we need to print this variable. And for printing variable, there is no need to provide any double quotes or single quotes. We just need to simply write print name. So if we'll write print name, it will print whatever the value given by the user in name. It will print it directly. So this is again one of the easiest thing. So there is no need to declare this variable first, not the type or anything. Whatever the value user will provide, it will directly store into this variable called name. Then we have some comments over here, like in Python we have single line comment and multiple lines comment. If we want to comment means if we want to hide a line for while execution, if we want to hide a line, so we can use this comment. Also if we want to explain anything while writing code, this is again a practice for any programmer, for any user to write such comments in our program. So for single line comment, we have to use this hash symbol first. Whatever we will write after this hash, like I am writing, this is a I have already written this is a comment. So after hash, if I have written this is a comment, this will not be the part of your program while execution. This is just a statement. This is just a line for user to make him understand what is and what we are going to write in the program. Then for multiple line comment, if you want to hide or if you want to comment multiple lines in Python, so we have to use 3 single quotes back to back, like this, 3 single quotes, right? And after 3 single quotes, like as you can see that we have written 2 printf statement, 1 and 2, and then we have again write these three single quotes. So with this, this means that we are closing this multiple line comment. Here we have started the multiple line comment, and here we are closing the multiple line comment, right? So with inside 3 single quotes, whatever we have written, it will treat it as multiple line comments, and followed by hash. If we'll write anything, it will treat it as single line comment. Comments again can hide your program or line or set of lines, right? And as I have told you about the indentation of the things, like if we'll use if else in our program, these are the conditional statement which we'll use in programming, Python programming or any programming. So in other programming or mostly programming language, we have brackets to decide the area of any statement, like if or loop or anything. But in Python, if you want to use if, and we have to first provide some space, so that this will make easier for compiler to understand that this statement is the part of this if conditional statement, and whatever we are writing in this line will be the part of this if statement only. And then we are writing else. Inside else, again we have provided a space. then we are writing this printf statement, then print again is the part, will be the part of this else. But as you can see that another print statement we have written after this print, like, so we have provided a space over here. So now this print will not be the part of else because we have moved this block a little bit to the left or right, whatever. So now this will not be the part of this else. So in if, we will, compiler will consider these two statements, and in else compiler will consider only this statement. This print, last print statement will not be the part of any if or else, right? So these are the things which we need to remember while creating Python program indentation. Again, while creating if else, while creating loop, while creating functions, or while creating anything, while creating any kind of statement where we used these type of bracket to tell the scope. So in that case, now in Python we have to use the indentation case. Now we have some Python identifiers. So identifiers mean as an identity, sort of a name, like which we use to create a variable, which we use to create function, a class, a module, a function name or module, or an object name. Like whatever the new name we want to create in Python, for that we need an identity. Like for variable, variable is a name, so we have an identity with us. For function we have a name, with that again we have an identity. So for any kind of new name, this is called an identity, and for kind of identity we need to use identifiers. And these are the few basic rules to define or to declare any kind of identifiers in Python programming. Like we just need to remember these things, because otherwise if we'll take a random name in Python programming, so that will become an error. So these are the few rules. Like first one is, an identifier starts with a letter, either A to Z, capital or small, or underscore followed by 0 or more letters and digits. Means in any identifier name we must use, we can use alphabets, we can use digits, we can use underscore, and we can use only one special characters, that is underscore. Other than underscore we cannot use any special character. Like Python does not allow punctuation characters such as at the rate, dollar, and percentage within identifiers. Only underscore we can use. Python is a case sensitive programming language. Case sensitive means small letters will be treated as small and capital letters will be treated as capital. Small and capital letters will be treated as different. Both are different. Small a and capital A are different names will be treated by Python. Class names start with an uppercase letter, all other identifiers start with a lowercase letter. So if we want to declare a class name in Python, so first letter should be uppercase, means capital, and other identifiers start with a lowercase letter. Starting an identifier with a single leading underscore indicates that the identifier is private. Starting an identifier with two leading underscores indicates a strong private identifier. If the identifier also ends with trailing underscores, the identifier is a language defined special name. No identifier starts with digits. We cannot start any identifier with digits. Identifier can start with either alphabets like A to Z or small a to Z, or underscore. Cannot start with digits, right? And we cannot we cannot provide any space. Like if we want to use Python program as variable name, a single identifier, so we cannot use this because it has a space. Either we need to separate this with underscore, this will be valid, or either we can use any other like digits in between. Digit we cannot use in starting, but after that we can use digits also. So these are the few things, these are the few rules I must say that we must remember while using while creating Python identifiers. So moving towards the variables. What is variable, and how we can create variables, how we can use variables. This is one of the important thing, and one of the easiest thing in Python, because as I said that in Python there is no need to pre-declare the variable, there is no need to use data types along with variables. Like if we want to use a variable, we just need to simply write the name and provide the value like this. If we want to use an integer type variable, so we are given a value 100, that is obviously integer value, and we have this provided this value directly to the variable called counter. So this is a declaration. This is a declaration directly we have provided. Python is dynamically typed. You do not need to declare variables. The declaration happens automatically when you assign a value to a variable. Variable can change type simply by assigning them a new value to a different variable. For example, if we used a is equals to 5, so at this moment we have provided a value 5 to a variable called a. So because of this line, there are two things happening. First, we have declared a variable which has a name a. Second, we have provided a value to a variable a that is of integer type. But suppose later in the program I want to provide a value, float type value to a, so I can just simply write a is equals to 5.5. So after writing this line, I would say that now at this point a is a variable which contains a float type value. So there is no need to typecast this variable. There is no need to provide a data type to variable in Python. This is one of the easiest thing, one of the easiest thing in Python. Variable can change type. Python allows you to assign a single value to a several variables simultaneously like this. Like if we want to provide 1 to 3 variables at the same time, so we can simply write a equals b equals c equals 1. That means we are assigning one value to all 3 variables, right? Now you can also assign multiple objects to multiple variables like this, like a comma b comma c equals 1 comma 2 comma John. It means then 1 will assign to a, 2 will assign to b, and John will assign to c. And as we can see that 1 and 2 are of integer type value, that means a and b will contain integer values. It becomes an integer variable sort of, we can say, and c will contain what type of value? String type of value. Why we are calling this a string value? Anything we'll write inside double quotes is called a string type of value. So John is called a string value, and which we are storing in the variable called c. So these are the few things which we can directly use in Python programming as well. Python reserved words. So what is the reserved word? Reserved word is something which that means something to the language. In other words, you cannot use a reserved word as the name of a variable. As that means simply we cannot use reserved word as identifier name. All the Python keywords contains lower character only. These all are in the lower character form. All the reserved word are the important words which has a specific meaning in programming language. So these are the words which we will use in Python programming, like and. So and is an operator which we used in Python programming, which we'll use in Python programming, exec, not, or, for, break, pass, global, raise, if, is, in, while, yield. So these are few reserved word. Reserved word is also known as important words which has a specific meaning. And remember one of the important thing that you cannot use any of the reserved word as identifier names. Now we have another feature of Python is multi-line statement. How we can use multi-line statement in Python? So suppose if we use this statement after followed by backslash, so these statements will treated as a single statement. And suppose if we'll use brackets So these, there is no need to use the line continuation character, and for multiple statements on a single line we can also use semicolon. So these are the few features of few introduction I have provided in this video. Thank you so much.